Now, for the boats, we're going to start with the one in the back. It's the dark blue one here. You can hardly see it. It's right there, and it's a nice blue. So if you have any kind of dark blue color, you're welcome to use it. I have here phthalo blue. It doesn't matter if it's green shade or red shade. Raw umber, a bit of raw umber in it to make it more earthy. And I'm going to introduce a touch of white, because that's the only way to see it. Very small amount of white. Yeah, it's a good color. You find that if you have any kind of dark blue, or even dark, Payne's gray, you can put some blue in your Payne's gray, like cerulean blue, and that will tone it down and make it more bluish than grayish. So what I'm using is phthalo blue and raw umber with a bit of white. You know, acrylics dries darker, but that's a good blue. Some of the blue is showing through here behind that boat. I'm just cleaning up this part. Okay. Now, I'm adding a bit of water to my paint here, make it a little bit more fluid. And I'm gonna try to create a reflection in the water. I'm making it on purpose. I'm making the reflection kind of wobbly, because this is what happens when it's in the water. All right, so we're using the same colors: phthalo blue, raw umber, Naples yellow. That looks really yellow in on the monitor, but it's Naples yellow, so it should be a little bit kind of like a soft yellow. And then I'm going to add quite a bit of white, and you see the color becomes kind of a turquoisey, soft bluish color. Very nice. For the boat, for this boat right here, that one. So before I do anything, I'm going to change my brush, use part of this paint that I have here. Let me see. Add raw umber, more raw umber to part of it, more to darken it. So instead of darkening this color with blue, I'm darkening the color with raw umber. I'm toning it down with raw umber because this is going to be my first layer. And it's going to be this part. Let's do the reflection at the same time. We're going to highlight this. Now, I'm going to take a bit of raw umber by itself. You don't need to wash your brush. Just pick up some raw umber. Let's put some down here. And that is the reflection of the boat in the water. That's why I'm saying don't clean your brush. Closer to the boat, the reflection is really dark. And instead of using any other color that might be too strong, I'm using raw umber. And this raw umber is mixed with a bit of blue because my brush has blue on it. Same, I'm going to take more raw umber. I'm going to wait for it to dry and put another layer. And then use blue, or actually before I do anything, this is good. Let's take some dark blue mixed. That means the blue is mixed with raw umber. and just spread the color down here for the reflection. It's going to change once we add the highlight in here. So colors are going to look a bit different. Okay. There. Let's give it some movement. Give the reflection some movement at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to use the same colors, phthalo blue and Naples yellow and a bit of raw umber with white. And I'm going to come here and highlight this boat from the side. Bring the highlight down slowly.
Sorry, Leah, to interrupt. What colors did you say? The
It's
same color?
yeah, phthalo blue, Naples yellow, and raw umber, and white.
Okay.
So this is what's making it really look good, is the white. That gives you that beautiful blue. It's more like a turquoise, soft blue.
Pretty.
Very pretty. And I'm just making sure that I don't go all the way down with the highlight. The bottom of the boat is darker, but we're going to go dark. We're going to go there, like we're going to go to that dark part slowly. Even if I go over it right now a bit, I'm not actually. I'm going to take now, grab more raw umber, and then just kind of mix it with my blue again and soften this. Of course, acrylic dries darker, so even the highlight part that I'm doing up here is drying darker. But that's okay. That's good. Now, let's take that. Make sure that the boat is, yes, actually. And I'm just going to give it a bit of highlight in here too, the reflection. Always, the highlight in the water is always darker. But again, with acrylics, it's going to dry darker. So don't highlight it too much. All right, now for this boat here, we have two options, red boat or a blue boat. If it's a blue boat, I would use a different kind of blue than this. So cobalt blue, a bit of raw umber, and white. If red, I'm using cadmium red light, raw sienna, raw sienna is earthy, and a bit of raw umber. Again, to tone it down, anchor it, kind of make it not as strong red, more like a wood. And for later on, I'm going to be using white to highlight. Okay, let's take this for now, this combination. You know what? If we don't like it, we can change it. It's paint. I'll bring in, I'm gonna bring in, actually, no, for this layer, let it's dark, that's okay. Let's keep it like that. It's more like a brownish color, but it's not brown. It's an interesting color. Nice. Okay. The bottom part is brown. Bottom part of this boat. Now I'm going to take a bit of raw umber at this point, add it to my color, and just paint the reflection tiny bit darker. I will be using white over this part, then I'll add white here as well in the reflection when I'm there at that point. Okay. This is the darkish or darker part. Right. Okay. I'm gonna take a bit of red, raw sienna, and white at this point. Bit of white. I just used raw umber. I put some red in it and white. No, actually just red. Just a bit of red in my raw umber. And I'm just putting the whitish, the dark wood at the bottom. And let's do the reflection. Eventually, what I need to do is put a darker separation in dark black, raw umber only in between the reflection and the bottom of the boat. Let's give it a bit of dark color in here. Okay. I'm just waiting for the bottom part to dry a bit so I can use just raw umber and darken this area here where the boat hits the water part, and that will separate the water from the reflection. So I'm using just raw umber. Clean it up or soften the color with transition. The line in here. Okay, let's take the line, the dark line I put in there. It's a tiny bit too straight. So I'm going to take raw umber and then just kind of play around with that and soften it so it doesn't look like a sharp line there. That's good. The top part of that boat is white. So of course we're not going to use white. So I'm going to take white, put some raw umber in it. A lot of detail in here, but I'm going to simplify this. Bit of water in there. There. It's not exactly the same what you see in the picture, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to do the same at the bottom part. So the bottom part is really dark. So I don't want it to look, I don't want it to show too much. So I'm adding more of the raw umber in my white. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Now, you take a bit of white, put it in that raw umber, and just highlight tiny bit this part, because this part of the boat, the back part here, is getting more light, more sunlight or light from because of its where it is. I'm going to take more white into my raw umber, and I'm going to highlight this part here. Not all the way. Okay. Same raw umber white, and I'm just going to put some right here. Just raw umber. Trim. of the boat. In raw umber. Before I pause, I'm just going to take the same color, the red color, and add raw umber to it in here. And I'm just going to paint these two doors in the same brown or dark. Okay, that. Then we'll connect a bit the doors, the background, some color in the background to this right here. So and you know, the orange that we have in the wash orange that we had initially, this color is helping as well in the back. All right, so we're going to fix this part because I went over too far. Bring the stairs in and using burnt umber, ultramarine violet, and titanium buff. I missed this part. Because we can always put any detail over that if we want. Okay, let's do that. Take at this point titanium buff and burnt umber. Highlight this step. And you know what? Let's continue that. Because like I mentioned before, we can always adjust whatever we want to adjust or add on top of it details. Let's get the background going. Darkening a bit in the background so I can place whatever I want on top. Right, I'm going to make this part of the boat right here, the trim or the rim, whiter. So I'm using white and I'm using burnt umber or any color that raw umber, whatever you have there. And just make sure that it's going to be lighter than what it is right now. Blending in too much with the background. That's better. I'm going to keep the reflection the way it is. I'm not going to highlight the reflection. So this is where we're at this point. Next week, we'll continue with the working on the boats.